Welcome to No Way But North. Actually, sorry, welcome to Ask No Way But North, where we're going to answer some of your questions directly with the idea of giving you the most value that we possibly can. My name is Cooper Lyons. My sober date is November 27th, 2010. And I'm joined by the big man himself, the skinny man, a.k.a. Black Paul Bunyan, a.k.a. Big John Meldrum, a.k.a. Chocolate Bear,
Okay.
a.k.a. Chocolate Thunder. How you doing?
Breaker of chains, all that good stuff.
Oh, God. Are you excited for our first question and answer episode, dude?
I'm a little nervous, man. We haven't done this
I know,
yet.
it's on the spot. We don't have like a bulleted.
It's not going to be like a quick, it's not going to be a long episode. It'll probably be fairly quick, but we got a couple questions we got to answer. I feel like that's a good thing. And hopefully as this picks up, we'll have more questions, maybe like as the alumni start to see and stuff like that. They can suggest things.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, so these are questions we kind of sourced from, people close to the company, people close to ourselves, our families. We just said, hey, we post on LinkedIn, we posted on our alumni page, things like that. So this is just to get us started, right? We really are going to be relying on you guys as viewers to call the number below, which is 208-810-2699. I already got it memorized. So give that a call. You can also send us an email at nowaybutnorth@northpointrecovery.com. With that being said, so we got a bunch of questions today. We got someone wondering about their friend in recovery and whether they can drink around them. We got how to enjoy life in recovery and a bunch of other ones. So this will be about a 30-minute episode compared to our usual 45 to an hour long episode. John, I don't think you're prepared for this, but I think you're reading what I'm about to go to next. You want to give us a question of the day?
Question of the day.
Something like if a tree is in the wood, falls in the woods, and nobody's around, does it still make a noise?
Did you just give the question for it?
No, because everybody's heard that.
If a pizza is round, why is it in a square-shaped box?
Ooh, I like it. All right, guys. So as we're gonna keep getting these questions, Haley, our brand new executive producer, we gotta add that to your title, your new title on the
executive
website.
Producer,
director of digital marketing.
She's on some
and
real Ron
producer
Howard type shit. You know what I'm saying?
The executive producer,
Some
Dick
Quentin
Wolf,
Tarantino.
will have the Law and Order bum bum after your name.
Love it.
Perfect. So she's going to be reading us our email questions because most of our questions are emailed. I believe we do have one voicemail recorded question. So that will be in here as well. But we're going to be hearing these questions kind of for the first time. I've looked over them, but I haven't read them or really gone into depth. So we're hearing these for the first time, just like you guys are. So
You know what I just realized we're missing?
What?
Our mugs.
I know. I need to go grab them out of storage. They're closed on the weekend, so I didn't have time to go grab them. That's my bad. Dropping the ball.
Missed the little,
I know, the pinky out. Haley, read us a question. Get us back on track.
All right, this is one of our email submissions. One of our submissions asked, how do you reconnect with the things you used to enjoy before using?
That's a good question.
Can you read it again? No, I'm just playing. Cooper took her quotes out, so... How do you reconnect with things that you used to enjoy before?
So with that question, I have to assume that you have some sobriety time, right?
Yeah.
Like I have to assume that you've either gone through treatment or you've gone through your detox, you've gotten some sobriety time under your belt. By sobriety time, I mean at least 6 months. Because your brain, even at 6 months, it's still recovering. Your brain is your brain chemistry is getting back into regular function.
Little thing we call anhedonia.
Anhedonia, pleasure deafness. So you need at least 6 months, right? And in that 6 months, you need to be working on the things that we talk about in recovery. So you need to be working steps or going to a therapist, dealing with any trauma that you most likely have, things like that. And at that point, you might even kind of rediscover that some of the things that you thought you liked, you don't actually like. You just liked them because you were drunk or high.
Yeah.
For me, this is almost a hard question for me to answer because I discovered all the things that I like after sobriety because I was a kid.
Yeah, you were pretty young when you got sober.
But from what I've seen other people do is they thought they liked fishing. They really didn't.
Yeah.
They just liked drinking beer and having an excuse to drink beer at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
Right? So what I would say is, this reminds me of, Gary Vaynerchuk. Mm-hmm. He talks about, if you're under 30, try everything. Just no don't say no to anything.
Yeah.
Like, get that community around you in a 12-step meeting. And when they say, hey, we're going to go do this, say, yeah, I'm down.
Well, yeah, I think there's to a point where, so many people kind of like you said, a lot of the hobbies and things that they enjoy doing surrounded their substance use, right? So, it's a fine balance of doing the things that you used to like to do to see if you still like them, trying new things, engaging in them, who knows, you might pick up something that never in a million years you thought you'd enjoy, and then all of a sudden, like, boom, it's there. So, it's kind of one of those things where, I've had patients come and talk about, like, for 28 days how they can't wait to get back out on the golf course, and then, I see them at Ashwood, and they're like, yeah, golf sucks. I hate golf, right? I can't just drive around the golf cart and get drunk and shitty for 4 hours and come back. Some people are like, you know what, like, I went golfing with some friends and I never thought I was going to enjoy it, and then I loved it. Or like I went to the alumni event and did paintballing or went axe throwing, and it turned out to be like one of my favorite things I got to do. So, it's kind of one of those things, like you said, you got to kind of try everything to kind of get that experience to see what you like and what you don't like after you get sober.
Yeah, and I think we also struggle with that. I know I struggle with that with, like, I don't want to get off my couch and go do something unless I have somebody to go do it with, right? So, like, find that other person in recovery that's kind of around where you're at and say, dude, like, I need to find some more fun stuff to do instead of just sitting around and drinking coffee and going to meetings all day. Do you want to go try something once a month, right? And, like, set last week of the month, we're going to go try something new every month, whether that's axe throwing or going on a hike or trying mountain bike riding, things like that. Yeah. So I think, and, you could Google things to do in your area and find dozens and dozens of lists and just print one of those off and just start checking them off and seeing what you enjoy. Yep. Don't go into it with any expectations. If you have an expectation that something's going to be real shitty, it's probably going to be really shitty. If you have an expectation that something's going to be awesome, it's not going to meet your expectations.
For sure.
I think the advice for the emailer or the caller is really try as many things as you can. Make sure that you have your ducks in a row when it comes to your recovery and you're doing the things you need to do and you're making progress there and you have some time under your belt. And then from there, have a friend go and try things with you.
Yeah.
Cool.
New fun things will come. It's not like a huge pressure where, you need to feel like, now I'm sober, I've got to try things. Like, it will come in due time.
And I think this is the last thing I'll say, and I'll shut up, is kind of like John talked about, something that you think that you wouldn't have enjoyed, you'll enjoy a lot. Like, I kind of thought that fun or enjoyment had to be like this high adrenaline, going and doing stuff and having like this blast of a time. But one of my favorite things is to go to a cigar bar with this guy and enjoy a cigar and just hang out and talk. Like, that is something I thoroughly enjoy doing.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. Or even have a cigar by myself and just like put my phone away and just relax and enjoy and like think and process the day and think about stuff.
That's a very mature thing, Cooper. You sound very mature when you said that.
I know I don't act it most of the time. I'm the ugly duckling, as you were saying before we started recording.
The limp duck.
The Finding Nemo
of the company.
Of the company, of the friend groups. But I really, I can be kind of smart sometimes.
Yeah. I'll give it to you.
So I hope that helped. Moving on to the next question.
My friend is recently in recovery. Is it okay to invite them to social situations where people will be drinking?
Great question.
Yeah, first of all, thanks for thinking of the fact that you're like thinking of the other person means a lot in the first place.
Yeah.
I'm curious. I want to hear what you have to say first.
So I would definitely say it's kind of one of those things to be mindful of. It's known that people are going to struggle with substances, right? People, not everybody can drink responsibly. Not everybody can, smoke weed responsibly. Some people have an addiction or have, the trait to be addicted to something. So it's always nice to, be aware. One of the things that we teach at North Point is like, you have to be open. You have to communicate your struggles and your needs, right? So if you have a friend that's, struggling or in early recovery or late recovery, give them that option. Like, I have friends, I'm not in recovery, I don't drink or do anything, but like if I invite a friend that I know is in recovery, like that's one of the things, like, hey, People might be drinking there. People might be, drunk. Are you cool with that? If not, I totally understand. It's cool. Like, you don't have to come. It's just kind of given that, that level of respect so that they don't feel pressured to go to something.
Yeah.
Once again, it's their choice. If they decide to go and they decide to engage in an environment where, people are drinking or people are under the influence of something, then that's on them, right? If they're not comfortable with it, they have to be able to communicate that they're not cool with that.
And they have to know where they're at in their recovery.
Yeah, their limitations. Right? They have to know their limitations for sure.
Yeah, and I would argue that it's not your responsibility to know that. Yeah. It's not your responsibility to protect them. That's on them to know what they can handle and what they can't. Mm-hmm. I think the only thing I would add is if you know that this is an occasion that centers around drinking, just don't even, I would say not. Don't invite them, right? Like, if it's a frat party where people are going to be doing cake stands, probably not a good idea. But if, if this is a coworker and you're just going to go out to grab a bite to eat and people are having a glass of wine or something like that, that's probably okay. Still give them that option. Still let them know that there will be drinking. Some people might get drunk. It talks about in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, or it talks about in the big book, sorry, I should be remaining in anonymous or anonymity. It talks about in a recovery literature that as long as we have a reason for going there, and even social reason is a valid reason, right? If I'm going to connect with friends and enjoy the company of my friends, and I'm not going there to just kind of steal some, live through them vicariously, get drunk through them vicariously, then, that's okay. But we need to make sure that we're living within our spiritual means, meaning having a connection with a higher power and doing the things that we need to do to take care of ourselves and our sobriety. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I think you answered it very well.
Thank you. What you got next for us?
That's actually a great segue to the next question. Me and God aren't the best of friends. Can I still stay sober?
I mean, short answer, yes, right? There's a lot more to it than that, but yes, you can stay sober.
Yeah, well, for sure. I mean, I think that there's a common misconception when we look at the 12 steps, right? And so this is something that we kind of teach and we educate at North Point is, you look at the 12 step, you see God riddled throughout that, right? And that's a turnoff for a lot of people in recovery, especially if they've, grown up in strict households where religion was forced upon them or spirituality was forced upon them. They really struggle with that idea. But kind of one of those things I teach somebody or teach my patients and my clients is that it's not about having a relationship with God. It's using whatever motivates you to stay sober. So, whatever you consider your higher power, whether that's your kids or, goals in life, God, Mother Nature, the universe, whatever it may be, you don't have to have this amazing relationship because some people, will look at somebody else that believes in God and be like, okay, you believe in this imaginary deity in the sky that's, this all, being person. And not everybody sees it like that. And that's completely okay. Just knowing that you can find your own way in spirituality. It doesn't have to be the normal formatted way that we think of in society when we think of religion or spirituality of you believe in God.
Yeah, I don't know. So what I would say is I have a feeling this caller is, recovering Catholic, as they say, right? Probably had God beaten into them.
Yeah, or LDS
or yeah.
Christianity
all
in
of
general.
those things.
Yeah, for sure.
And if you're Catholic, no offense. I know that there's a lot of people that have some trauma associated with the way that religion was kind of shoved down their throats when they were children, right? So I almost wish we could call this person back or get some more information, right? Because I think, first of all, if we were in a 12-step program and you asked me to sponsor you and you were having this issue, what I would say is, are you the most powerful being in the universe? Do you have everything and know everything? Because that's really what it comes from, right? Is a problem with being able to give my will and my life over to the care of God as I understand him, and admitting that powerlessness. And so obviously not, right? If you're in a 12-step program or you're in a treatment center, you are not the most powerful being in the universe. Alcohol has a lot more power than you do, or drugs have a lot more power than you do.
I am the most powerful being.
Get the fuck out of here. So And what I would say is there's more than just alcohol out there that's more powerful, right? The ocean could drown you, no problem. The rock could beat the fuck out of you. And so what I would say is don't worry about it. Work the steps. Do what your sponsor tells you to do. Stay working in the book. Get treatment and therapy if you need it, and really just process that. And know that, like you said, like John said, it doesn't have to be like this predefined thing. You can choose whatever you want. My higher power is a God, all loving, all knowing, all powerful being, force of the universe, whatever. Like, it does not matter. It can be the tree in your backyard, or your family, like John said. So don't worry about it too much. The short answer is yes, you can stay sober.
Awesome. What are some easy, tangible routines to stay away from temptations?
Some easy, tangible routines. I think some things to look at would be, when we look at substance abuse and we look at how people engage in whatever substance their poison is. A lot of it's ritual based, right? We have certain formats of how we use, right? We have our favorite cup or our mug or wine glass. We have our favorite position on the couch, or we come home and we're very systematic on how we do things. And so a lot of that's breaking just your old routines from what you were used to doing, right? If you get off of work and your routine was, I drive down this street because the liquor store is on this corner and that's, the easiest way to my house, right? Breaking these types of things up. Coming up with new routines and things that you enjoy is a big part of recovery, right? We have to break those ritual forms that we're so used and comfortable with. I see a lot of people fall back into like their old routines and part of those rituals, and then which inevitably leads them back into their substance use. So, it's setting like little goals. The first question, finding new things we like to do, changing up driving routines, changing up, furniture in the house, getting rid of things that we don't need, any drug paraphernalia or anything like that we had that reminds us of our use. God, I can't get that out. Is a big part of that. So I would say that, a lot of people think they just need to overhaul their entire life, and that will happen in due time. That's not something that people need to do with an early recovery, come out and just like flush everything. There might be things that you're unaware of that might trigger you or cause cravings that you were completely unsure of, that you didn't even think that they were a thing until you're presented with that. So it's a slow process. But I think the first and foremost is coming up with new things in your day, right? Breaking out of those routines. If your thing is getting home and sitting on the couch until you fall asleep watching Netflix, okay, well, then I hit a meeting. I maybe, talk with my sponsor or hang out with some friends, and then I go home, right? I get out of what's comfortable for myself, and I start making things a little uncomfortable that I'm not used to.
Yeah, I think the only thing I'd add in that is, like, for me, I had rituals around my drug use, right? And so, which is another word for routine, I guess. So you kind of need, especially in early recovery, you need to do that with your recovery. So like you need to go to a meeting at the same time every day. Not necessarily the same time. You need to go to a meeting every day. You need to call your sponsor every day. That's why sponsors tell you, call me every single day, is to kind of break that habit, break that routine, get in a new one that's more focused in recovery. And then beyond that, the only other thing I would add is do like a morning and nightly routine, right? Like try to connect with your higher power. Try to set an intention for the day. However you need to think about it, meditate, whatever you need to do to frame that in a way that works for you, to kind of focus on recovery for the day. And then at the end of the night, kind of review your day. Think about like, was I tempted? What worked? What didn't? Did I get agitated? Do I need to talk to my sponsor about anything? Do I need to talk to my family about anything? If you're a little further along in recovery, do I need to make amends to anybody tomorrow for being a dickhead because I was hungry or something like that? So yeah, I think just putting that focus on recovery throughout your day is going to make a huge difference, especially like fresh out of treatment. Not even fresh out of treatment, because I think it's still fresh in your mind at that point, right? I'm thinking 2 weeks, 3 weeks out of treatment, kind of resetting that intention for those routines and making sure you're following those things that you set for yourself. So what's next?
We actually did have someone call and leave a voicemail.
Hi, John and Cooper. My question is, what do you do with your time when you're not using and you're first sober? Thanks so much, guys.
I almost feel like we've kind of answered this today, right? So like we talk about the finding new things to do. So finding those friends in recovery to go sit on your ass and eat a bunch of pie and coffee and talk about like what's going on and laugh. Like don't hold yourself to like super strict help. Like you don't need to be, I don't know why The Rock is in my head this week.
Because you're looking at me.
God, I hate you. Can we end this episode right now? But like, you don't need to be the ultimate fit. So like, go have fun, go try new things. Just go out with people in recovery. Go to meetings. I know a lot of people that go to 2 or 3 meetings a day for weeks because they have so much time on their hands. They know if they sit at home thinking about not using and trying to think about not using, which leads to thinking about using, they're gonna relapse.
Well, yeah, I think another thing like we talked about, right, is this idea of anhedonia. You know, the inability to feel pleasure, and it's not so much that you're not feeling pleasure; you're just not experiencing
Your threshold
you're not experiencing pleasure the way you're used to experiencing it. So, a lot of people kind of get in this rut, especially in early recovery, where they want to get out and they want to enjoy things and they do things, but it's just flat. Like they don't enjoy it. So like things will come and it's you got to give yourself time. And I think that's the hardest thing for any new addict in recovery to engage in is that like idea of time. Like you need to give yourself some time to like grow into things and understand those things and kind of find new ways to have fun and engage and not just get stuck.
Yeah, and I think the idea also is like you need to find something that gives you some comfort.
Yep.
You're not finding like pleasure or a lot of fun or like that high adrenaline rush, right? Mm-hmm. You just need to find something that like releases some comfort for a little bit, which for a lot of people is meetings, right? Yeah. Short term, at least for an hour. And I think the step work is where that long-term relief is going to come in and give you more stability to be able to find those things where you want to spend your time. The other thing I would say is go give back somewhere, right? Like go volunteer. Everybody likes dogs. Go volunteer at the Humane Society or your local animal shelter. When you're not focused on yourself and like all the shit that's going around in your head all the time, it's a lot. That time goes by a lot faster. Yeah. Don't go home and sit on your couch and watch Netflix. Don't do this. Don't isolate yourself and stay still. Like go to meetings, go do stuff, go help other people. Try to look outside of yourself of where you can be useful. So I think we've got time for 1 or 2 more.
How do you deal with people wanting to come back into your life once you're sober?
Yeah, so I mean, I think a couple things you got to look at is the people that are coming back into your life. Are they so? You know, now that you're sober, you know, we got to look at a couple things. Like, are they good for us? Right? Are they former friends that we used to use with, or people that we used to associate with in our active addiction? And if they are, then probably not a great idea. If we have, you know, friends or family that we're super supportive and they want to engage with us, you know, it's kind of a time for you to re-engage and develop a bigger support system. Really understand that, you know, when we're in active addiction, we have a lot of people that love and care for us, but they distance themselves from us because they don't want to get hurt, right? They don't want to see the train wreck and deal with the lies and the manipulation and everything that's associated with use. And so if people are starting to come back around us, like, you know, this is a time for us to rebuild these relationships and get to a better spot within those relationships and have honesty be there and have them kind of understand, you know, what you've gone through and how they can best support you moving forward.
Yeah, I think you're pretty much answering all these. I'm just kind of adding caveats onto that is don't like rush yourself, right? Like, I didn't talk to my mom for 4 years because she wasn't healthy for me. Wasn't healthy for me / I wasn't healthy enough to have healthy boundaries with her. And you know, that was 3 years into my recovery, that happened. So, like you're under no obligation to have anybody in your life that doesn't bring value or that you're not able to like have a healthy relationship with. So, I mean, yeah, if it's your drug dealer, like, you know better than that. But if it's like, your best friend who really does care about you and really does want the best for you, and but you guys drink together, like, tell them that. Be like, listen, like, I know that we have a real relationship. I know that you care about me. Where I'm at right now, I need to get my shit straight before I am healthy enough to hang out with you, even if we're not drinking. It's not your fault. You didn't do anything wrong. This is something that I have to do. If that person doesn't respect that, that says a lot about them. And you can still check in with that person, but you don't have to spend a ton of time. It's like, hey, just want you to let you know I'm thinking of you, love you. Let's, I'll check in next month, something like that. I think that's, again, where the steps come in, and where that therapy comes in, and where you make sure that you are spiritually fit or, emotionally fit to be able to hold those boundaries, right? Like, chances are that your best friend doesn't quite understand alcoholism. Right, this best friend that I made up, and so they might offer you a glass of wine thinking that's okay, right? That's what happened to me. That was my parents offered me a glass of champagne on Thanksgiving because we didn't know any better, and that's not your best friend being a bad person, but you need to make sure you're in a place where you can say no and be okay, and educate them, not in a rude, condescending way, because they don't have any need to know about these things. Until now. And so you can kind of be a source of education and help for them. So let's see how much time we got left. Do we got a quick one? No more. All right, guys. I actually really enjoyed that. I feel like we're really giving some more specific help to individuals. So
more to come.
Yeah, call in, leave us some details about what's going on. Those were pretty kind of broad, which is fine. You can leave those too. But if you have a specific question about, if you're dealing with your mom and there's details around that, leave those details. Leave your phone number if you want us to give you a call back. We might try to get some more info from you. That phone number is 208-810-2699. That email is No Way But North. I forgot our name for a second. No Way But North at northpointrecovery.com. I'm Cooper. This has been John. And this is No Way But North. We're talking about the miracles of recovery and the tools used to achieve them. Have a good one, guys.
Peace.
If you or a loved one are struggling with addiction, please call 208-999-4064. The views and opinions expressed in No Way But North do not reflect those of North Point Recovery or any other institution or organization.